INFOWARS hosting will be Mike Cernovich. But first, here's a few minutes of Paul Watson yesterday on with Gavin McInnes on Get Off My Lawn.
How we doing, Paul?
Good to be here, Gavin.
How's life? You're killing it.
It's not too bad. I've been trying to spend more time on YouTube recently, spend more time on scripting videos especially, and less time on Twitter, which is very addictive, but I'm trying to get away from Twitter a little bit. So I put this video up last night because I thought it was quite apropos with what's going on with the whole sexual abuse scandal fallout, because it seems to be being conflated by the media and by the left. I'll give you an example. The last thing I saw on Twitter last night was a headline out of Fox News. Steven Seagal accused of telling actress to sit on his face in 1991. So they're talking about, this was a conversation over the phone, Gavin. Like, he didn't even say it to her face. She said no. That was the end of it. Whatever else Steven Seagal may have done, it's like the world will keep turning despite this apocalyptic bombshell from 26 years ago. And that's what I talked about in the video that I put up last night, the new sexual Puritans. So the process that we're seeing, they're conflating all these like vague allegations, men clumsily approaching women being rebuffed, and then taking it and conflating it with actual sexual assault of the Harvey Weinstein variety. So you've seen all these top feminists over the past couple of weeks, Lindy West being given a platform by the New York Times, Helen Rosner, Kate Harding, Matt McGorry, the actor on CNN, basically saying, oh, look, this proves what we claimed all along, that all men are misogynists, all men are perverts. Look what's happened. We've been proven right. So they're taking it, twisting it, and hijacking it to try and resurrect third-wave feminism, trying to resurrect this misandric belief that all men are perverts, again, to fulfill their own agenda, which is, if you read the articles, the only way you can atone, Gavin, for being a misogynist and a sexist is to adopt all our far-left political beliefs. Well, isn't that a coincidence?
Yeah, well, it's ultimately about power, right? It's about telling you how to have sex, what you can and can't do. And I think that's why they embrace Islam, because the jihadists are saboteurs. So they're going to burn your house down, metaphorically and maybe literally. And then once they've sabotaged culture, then I can get in there and I can dictate everything, including how courtship works, how all men behave, what men say.
No, I mean, they make a list. There's a big Medium article which went viral by Helen Rosner, sorry, and she lists it. She said, right, now you have to support Black Lives Matter. You have to stop watching non-ethical porn. You have to stop using the term social justice warrior and feminazi. You have to support abortion. You have to be quiet as men. Otherwise, you're on the same team as all these evil sexual abusers. So it's completely transparent what they're doing. It's like the professor with the New York Times op-ed yesterday, you know, should I let my kid be friends with white people? You read his article and it's like, yeah, you should apologize for being white. And by the way, that's not enough. You also have to adopt all my far-left political beliefs. So it always comes back to that over and over. So it's a simple power play, like you said. It's so transparent what they're trying to do with this.
Well, his wife is white, by the way, that guy.
Yeah, so half of his friends are white as well.
Yeah, he's clearly friends with whites. Well, every time you argue with feminists about this, they always say the same thing about all the fake allegations. And again, it's becoming a challenge here to separate all the stories, because we sound like we're rape apologists here. Yes, rape is bad. That's why we have the cops. Go to the cops. Even sexual assault, go to the cops. Anything untowards and it's illegal, go to the cops. Otherwise, I don't know, you didn't like the way someone spoke or you felt uncomfortable. If it's not illegal, get over it. You know, we all have. But the one thing these women keep saying is, why would they lie? Why would they exaggerate? Why would they want to put themselves through that? And I say, because I can give you a bunch of examples, like Jamie Peck, who built her career on criticizing Terry Richardson.
All right, folks, we'll be right back. That full lengthy interview is posted at Prison Planet on YouTube and at InfoWars. Stay with us. We'll be back with the latest on Hillary Clinton, Mike Cernovich, and more. Stay with us. Okay, Mike Cernovich is co-hosting with us in this fourth hour. We're getting him connected right now. The footage you're about to see is really important because we're going to have even more footage. This just happened like an hour ago. Millie Weaver and Gavin Wentz, the camera guy, both of them intrepid reporters, just got back to the mothership here in Austin, Texas. Hillary was here in Austin today. Millie Weaver, our reporter, will give you the details. She's also going to be up in Dallas now. And we first got the reports from the Secret Service last year that Hillary was having convulsions every 45 minutes and had a black ambulance, and that we should tell our listeners and everybody else to follow her around and get her on video. That she had a medical tent as well. Well, a couple of weeks later, Millie and Gavin in Cleveland, Ohio, caught her in a medical tent for an hour, emergency stretchers, people running through. We have that video. A week later, on September 11th, a month after we broke this news that she was having convulsions every 45 minutes, she fell down on 9/11 in New York. The media only showed her wobbling, didn't show the fall, and said we made it up. But despite the fact they pulled it off the internet, the video kept getting uploaded, they had to back off. That was a real Waterloo for mainstream media. So you went down there today. I don't know if you were wearing your Bill Clinton rape shirt.
I most definitely was. And I triggered a lot of people. You would not even believe. There were a lot of Austin liberals out there lined up to see Hillary Clinton. And she was very secretive and elusive. You know, when she even first pulled up, they had a garage that would shut so that you wouldn't capture or see her getting out of her car, as to maybe hide if she were to stumble or fall. You never know. But it was very handled. You had her whole staff there, like a bunch of cult members. And yes, I did get harassed by her staff. They were stalking me, following me around. One of the private security was even pushing up into me, and I had to keep telling him, stop, I do not want you touching me.
And by the way, by next hour, you guys just got back in the last 45 minutes, you'll have all the video downloaded and ready for the War Room with Owen Schroyer. You're going to be able to show all this. But you were telling me that they called the Austin cops, but the Austin cops, when they got there, what happened? Yeah,
I was like, please call the police. We're on a public sidewalk. I'm allowed to be here talking to people that consent to talk with me. And guess what? They brought the police, and the police were totally cordial, and they ended up telling Hillary's psychotic staff, cult member staff, to back off. You can't be in my space. You can't be touching me and pushing your body up against me.
Yeah, this is Texas, and I'm sorry to say I did in New York, where the police a lot of times will actually back the Democrats, being anti-free speech. And of course, people can't see it on radio, but you have the rape shirt down there of Bill Clinton, which became iconic in the election. And we had the contest exposing Bill Clinton's a rapist that probably turned the tide of the election. It was our audience taking action that did that. But alone, you having her coming out of a deal and them holding her up and holding her by the arms, clearly not just guiding her, but holding her up, thinking she may fall any minute, fits into the photos of her being helped up the stairs, or her falling down on her face, or her being helped out of the vehicle, or into the vehicle. And Donna Brazil saying they looked at replacing her with Joe Biden because of her health.
And, they had people stopping the front of the line from coming into the building. So they were waiting for Hillary to get out of her vehicle so that they can then have her stumble her way into her chair in her seat, and then allow people in so that she could be sitting in a stationary position while she's signing and autographing books. And essentially, we're seeing somebody having to literally lift her. It looks like the guy is lifting her up out of the car.
And again, they tried to hide around the corner. They tried to hide inside where they parked her. They're being very, very secretive. But just like the Secret Service told us, there is a black ambulance vehicle that she uses. Now, have we gotten Mike Cernovich on yet? Okay, great, because I want to get Mike Cernovich's take on this before we go to the footage. He's supposed to be hosting this hour. I appreciate him letting us run into what he's doing at Cernovich on Twitter. Mike, we've been on this from day one. Obviously, we see the whole collapse of their structure, the elite turning against the Clintons. You're going to be getting into all that coming up. But what do you make of the new footage we've got that we're about to premiere of them clearly hiding her around the corner and trying to hold her up under her arm, like she can't walk by herself? By itself, you'd say, but you added to all the other evidence. This is amazing.
Yeah, and then she broke her foot by tripping down the stairs, the multiple falls, the Scooby van. People can go back and see that you and I and others had talked about the Scooby van, and they call this, of course, a conspiracy theory, and even worse. But that was from Secret Service sourcing. Everybody knows that within her, because, again, it's all a drill. It's all orchestrated.
Well, that's right. And even at her campaign events the last few months of last year, they would all circle her, and the crowd was in on it. I mean, we now learn we were vindicated. This is true. This is happening.
Donna Brazil also talked about how cult-like Hillary Clinton's staff is. And I can attest to you that I've been to multiple rallies, multiple Clinton speaking events. They are extremely cult-like. And even today, they were cult-like in the way they harassed me, stalked me, told me I needed to leave while I'm on a public sidewalk. They're cult-like, just like Donna Brazil said. So why wouldn't Donna Brazil's testimony on Hillary Clinton's ill health also be correct?
And again, if you're a TV viewer, we are rolling this video here, and we have it slowed down. There she is, literally, it looks like being held up, her arm, and then she's like, oh, look, there's cameras, so they take their hand off.
Do you see they're shutting the gates? They were trying to shut the gates and hide her completely walking into the event. They did not want people getting footage.
This is amazing. I haven't even seen this yet.
It's brand new. You're seeing it for the first time.
Wow. Yeah, no, I thought, because I saw earlier on Twitter that Hillary had still been traveling in her big Scooby van, and they were walking her behind the van while a bunch of fans were surrounding her. And as you know, that was standard operating procedure, was they would say never let anybody get her on camera.
And by the way, where is that on Twitter, Mike? Is that at Cernovich? Did you retweet that? Because we want to show that right now to give us different angles of what happened. Show it. Tell us where to go.
Yeah. So Jack Posobiec had that on his Twitter account where it shows Hillary being escorted to the back of her big Scooby van. And I thought that was the video we were talking about because, as we know, the media doesn't go behind the van because that's when they have to lift her up and prop her up. So if you ever watch footage of her getting into the van, they always escort her to the other side away from the camera.
Sure, and you see them in the shot as they're trying to close the gate. She's like, hey, look, and they're holding her up, and then they take their hand off. I mean, she is really ill.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I hadn't even seen that video. I thought you were talking about this other video that I'm looking for, and I'll retweet so that it's at the top. Yeah, this is startling, actually. Can we watch that video?
Yes, let's roll that video again for TV viewers. Radio listeners, Infowars.com/show. This was literally shot like an hour and a half ago. Millie got back like an hour ago, and you can see it where they are holding her, not just touching her on the arm, but holding her up under the elbow. She sees it, so they start closing the gate to basically cover up what's going on.
You know, when a lot of times when guys are being gentlemanly and they want to help a woman, like just to be cool.
No, you don't grab them by the arm unless you're Joe Biden.
Hand and like gently, and then it's
like, oh, here, let me help you. You don't like here, little lady, unless you're Joe Biden grabbing a little girl.
Yank you up by your arm. You know, she needed help, obviously, getting out.
Yeah, we found the video, so I retweeted it to my timeline. So as you can see, they're escorting her to the back of the van because they don't want to see anybody have her lift her up. So it's amazing.
We're going to show that when we come back from break. Here's the footage. Hillary's still traveling in what appears to be a modified van. I mean, look at her hobbling out. She's got a boot on. That's what.
Oh, wow.
Gavin, we have footage of that boot, too. So there's the boot. I mean, she looks like she's a person in a nursing home. And then there's the ambulance. There's the black ambulance. And then she still thinks she's going to run for office in a couple of years.
Well, she's walking with a limp. Donna Brazile even came out saying she has ill health.
Well, Mike Cernovich, great job, Millie. I'm going to let you get all the new footage ready for the War Room coming up in about 45 minutes, but I want you to be able to take over. Well, what else is coming up, Mike Cernovich?
Oh, I didn't know. I thought I was riding shotgun, or you were riding
We'll be happy to ride shotgun if you want. We just don't want to hog your hour. You got a lot to cover.
No. I like the panel discussions anyway because
tell us what you want to get into then in the next 45 minutes.
Yeah, well, you know, I think that video that you drew on was big. I think that the sexual harassment scandals are big. The Hollywood stuff is big. I mean, there's so much to talk about, man.
Sure, but let me just say this. I hadn't seen the footage that Posobiec just put out. I mean, clearly she's being helped out by them there. It looks like, I mean, I'm not being mean. My grandma just died. The point is, she looks like a nursing home person.
Yeah.
And the point is, this is the elite creature, and then Bill Clinton looks like the crypt keeper. I mean, it's like Cousin Lurch, and, you know, we'll talk about it all with Millie Weaver, Mike Cernovich, and more. And they're getting all the footage ready. We got a bunch of it. Hillary having to be held up in Austin, Texas. Stay with us. And Mike Cernovich and Millie Weaver. Millie just got back like an hour ago. There's more footage coming up this hour, more footage on the War Room with Owen Schroyer and Roger Stone, and Mike Cernovich is one of the contributors as well. Mike Cernovich is hosting this hour. I'm getting out of this segment, even though I'm invited, because I got to go look at all the rest of this footage, and I'm going to be listening to Mike. But if you missed it, here's the footage. You tie this in with all of her other collapsing, that she still has the ambulance, that she's hobbling around with a boot on. I mean, she looks like she is basically living in a nursing home. And look, she's an evil woman. They tried to cover up her illnesses, but we're slowing this footage down. There was one car, Millie was saying, behind the motorcade that got in late, so they were unable to close the gates to cover up what was happening. Let's back that up again. And Millie and her cameraman, Gavin Wentz, caught it on tape as she's being lifted out of the black ambulance, which is a mobile ambulance, but black, so you don't know it's a black ambulance. This is simply incredible. Millie, tell us about this video, narrate this for radio listeners, and what else you saw.
Well, you could tell that by the way they were having her come into the back end of the bookstore, they were trying to have it very discreet and private. They even had gates that they could shut so that you wouldn't see it. But like you were saying, there was a tail end of the motorcade that came in late, had some problems trying to weaseling through, shimmying through the gate. And that's what allowed us to capture this footage. But she could have clearly been dropped off at the very front entrance of the bookstore, and she could have waved to her fans who were sitting out there, sitting on the floor, probably waiting for hours to come see her. But that's not what happened. She had
clear as day being lifted out of a vehicle.
That's right.
Which was what the Secret Service told us. She's got to be lifted out of vehicles, put back in. That was over a year ago. Then she fell down a month after we were told. And you've been on her tail, you and Gavin.
That's right. And her staff was so cult-like. I mean, look at them all standing around. I mean, obviously you have people there, but this guy here, he was one of the ones that followed me around. The guy with the beard followed me around the entire time where I was, along with that other security guy in the green. And they were the ones harassing, following me, pushing their body up against me.
And what did the Austin police say to him?
The Austin police told him to stop. They said, you need to keep a distance from her. And I was very grateful for the Austin police. And even Hillary Clinton's crazed female staff members that came and told me I had to leave right now because I was harassing and hurting people's feelings and offending people. They didn't seem to care that these guys were kind of manhandling me in a way, and that they threatened, we're going to call the police. I said, please do call the police because I'm allowed to be here. This is the public.
Well, this is Hillary, again, like the Secret Service told us over a year ago, having to be lifted out of vehicles. Mike Cernovich, the Donna Brazile, all of it coming out, the establishment turning against the Clintons. What does this signify to you?
Well, I would like to know if the media, the New York Times, is going to report that a female journalist, Millie Weaver, was potentially assaulted in a major attack on the free press by Hillary Clinton's people. I think that's very interesting that it's okay for a conservative or independent journalist to be manhandled by Hillary Clinton's entourage.
By Hillary's goons, who we know have gone after women before that have been abused by Bill Clinton.
And it's not the first time. It's not the first time. I've been to her other rallies during the campaign season, and her staff was always really crazy and attacking me.
Mike, what does this signify to you, though, the whole establishment turning against the Clintons? What does that signify?
Well, they're trying to regain the moral high ground, which they lost by defending Anthony Weiner, Al Franken, Frankenstein's monster, Kevin Spacey, Weinstein, the whole thing. And they know that they realized, hey, we can't falsely accuse right-wing people of stuff if the real accusations against our people aren't addressed either. So now they're going, well, Bill Clinton, he's old, he's senile. Hillary Clinton, she has Parkinson's, or whatever. Donna Brazile, by the way, confirmed again, I've never gotten an apology, confirmed that doctors who liked Hillary were actually emailing about her health. But again, the fake news media doesn't want to cover that.
Well, sure, they fired one doctor that went public and said, listen, I'm not against her, but, this lady's got serious medical problems.
Yeah, Dr. Drew lost his whole show. Remember that? I mean, the cover-up, it really shows how high the cover-up goes. Is Dr. Drew, very popular. He's a liberal, by the way. He's not one of us. And he just said, wow, there's something wrong here. Boom. Show canceled. The machine, that's what they would do to protect the Clintons.
But the Clintons aren't giving up, and their minions aren't. So when you've got an immovable object comes into the unstoppable force, you get explosions.
Exactly. But now that the Clintons lack power, they're saying, well, we'll just throw Bill Clinton away because he can't raise money for us. Even Senator Gillibrand, she goes, oh, Bill Clinton should have been removed from office after the Monica Lewinsky affair, which, by the way, no, he shouldn't have. I mean,
so she's now basically agreeing with the impeachment.
Right. Even though she was with him all last year, raising money, cha-cha-ching.
Well,
right?
Bill Clinton was actually impeached for lying. He was impeached for lying. It wasn't the act, actually, of having...
Yeah, no, it was consensual with her. I don't think that was an issue. It should be an issue with Christian voters or whatever. They cover up consensual sex like it's the raping or pedophilia. No, it's not.
But then they don't want to talk about the actual cases like, Kathleen, Willie, and...
Exactly. So let me ask you this question, and Mike Cernovich. Why are they trying to mix normal sexual relationships in with, like, pedophilia and rape? It's not going to work.
It seems like an attack on heterosexual relationships in general, an attack on the family.
Now, what do you think, Mike? I think that's what it is.
Yeah, well, I've said this before, too, and I know that it resounded because the Southern Poverty Law Center was really upset. As I said, the reason that they're attacking us is because they want to attack the nuclear family, and that is why they were trying to destroy us whenever they can. They want the degeneracy, and also what they're trying to do is they want it, and the Washington Post did this. Let's re-examine the Roy Moore story. If WAPO had only run one story where a 14-year-old girl accused Roy Moore of what he did, I think I would have believed it, actually.
But it was all packaged, targeted, ready, and a bunch of it's been proven to be fake.
Yeah, and then they go, oh, and there was an 18-year-old, and then the media lumped them all in as accusers, right? So watch the trick the media did. The media goes, 4 women have accused Roy Moore. Well, no, they didn't. And if you go on a date with if an 18-year-old girl says, I went on a date with the guy and we had an ice cream cone, and he never did anything.
That's not an accuser.
That's not an accusation. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So, but then they go, oh, but
I mean, the real deal is, I think it's a little creepy, but it's not illegal. The guy's a stud. Okay, the point is, his problem is he wasn't raping him, he wasn't a pedophile. Then he'd be in the club.
Yeah, so I wasn't defending him being 32 years old, walking around in a suit at a shopping mall.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's creepy, and it's like a creepy Studley guy, but, you know, and there could be something real. The point is, if something real comes out, we're going to throw him overboard. The Democrats are still defending, you know, MSNBC, and they're defending Al Franken.
But in some of these states, it wasn't illegal to go on a date with someone in that age.
Exactly. For me, it's creepy, but is it Harvey Weinstein? No. What do you think, Mike?
Well, yeah, and did you notice that Gloria Allred, when she went on the news, she said she wouldn't admit that the signature was authentic. Have you guys played that footage yet?
I saw that. I had that in the clip. I never got to it. In fact, you know, we've got that when we come back. Grills Allred over more accusers, and she went on to say she wouldn't say it was real.
Yeah. You can see her on video. It's amazing.
I can neither confirm nor deny, you know, lawyer speak.
Well, Mike, we're going to be watching and gearing up for the next show. I know you're going to be tweeting out a lot of stuff. Big breaking news here. Great team effort. Everybody getting this out. You're taking over. If you want that clip, we have Katie Tur, Grills, Gloria Allred over it, and a lot more straight ahead on the other side with Mike Cernovich. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us.
And we're back. Mike Cernovich, Facebook.com/Mike Cernovich is where you can find a lot of great videos. Today, by the way, 40th birthday. Happy birthday to me. But even though it is my birthday, in this war against the globalists, we don't get days off. So I'm actually going to a wonderful trip. I'm going to leave right after this, actually. Take a great trip, have a nice weekend away. But you all are too important for me to not be with today, because I'm not always able to talk with you on Fridays because I just wrapped up production on a big film. Everybody's so busy. That's the thing, is we do live in a golden era of media and journalism. I right now am sitting on a bombshell story that will rock the halls of Congress that I'm working on. I'm here talking with all of you. We're building a big film that I was doing. That's in post-production. Alex is building the studios out. And this is why the support from all of you is so important, and why the product specials matter so much, because there are no outside advertisers for Alex. There's no outside advertisers for me. This is all 100% listener funded. And a lot of people don't get it. I hear from people in right-wing media all the time. You know, Mike, I can't make any money doing this. Mike, you know, this, Mike, that. Because Toyota Corolla isn't going to advertise with right-wing media. With the media that tells the truth, you're not going to get Mercedes-Benz. You're not going to get BMW. Keurig, the coffee maker, they even pulled ads from Hannity, right? Hot dog companies pulled their ads from Hannity. You name it. So that's why the support of the listeners are important, but it's a two-way commitment, right? That's why I'm here on a Friday on my birthday with you, because your support matters, and I thank you for the support that you've given me, the support that you've given the whole InfoWars crew, because there are a lot of people who are very grateful for all the support you are giving, and you give that every time you order, and you get stuff on auto ship, and you buy the products while they're on special. Subscribe and save. Caveman True Paleo Formula, that's the product that I always plug because that's the one I personally use. With me, I just don't plug anything, right? I just don't, because I don't plug anything that I don't take. But I know the Caveman stuff is amazing. It's collagen. I've done smoothie recipes before with frozen berries, smoothie recipes with a banana, almond milk. You throw in some Caveman True Paleo strawberry formula with some frozen blueberries and a banana, and you have all the nutrition you need for your joints and other parts of your body. And that's the one that I think is the best. And so thank you again for your support. And let's get back to, well, that is fun, by the way. You know, I'm actually publishing an article today, 40 life lessons when I turn 40, which is kind of like cliche, but it's kind of cool. Those things tend to go viral. And we do want our message of positivity to go viral. I really don't like that people don't realize how positive and upbeat and fun Alex is. You see a side of that on the show. But, you know, what we're doing is warfare every day, warfare against the globalists, warfare against the pedophile Hollywood establishment. Very important to remember, though, to spend time with your family, to reflect, to be good to one another. That's ultimately the message from me, the message from the whole INFOWARS team is we want to make the world better. The fake news media, they have to lie about us, actually, to make us look bad, because all we want to do is make the world a better place. We want you to be healthier, wealthier, wiser, and every day, and that's why we share real news, where I got to give credit to NBC. I never thought I would say this, but NBC did some real journalism. And this video you're about to watch, I couldn't believe I watched this on NBC. I'll be completely honest with you. This video you're about to watch, a journalist named Katie Tour actually does real journalism and confronts Gloria Allred about potential forgery accusations. So I want you, if you're at home listening very, very attentively, and if you're watching, to watch attentively. Let's play that clip, and then let's analyze it once it's over.
At this point, I have no reason to believe that what he wrote in the yearbook is anything but his signature.
Does your client, Beverly Young Nelson, remember him signing it?
She remembers she remembers being with him. It was on the counter. She alleges that he took it, that he signed it, and she was thrilled that he had signed it because, as far as she knew, he was a DA, and that was an important position.
So she saw him sign it. I don't think
at the time she had a clue whether he was an assistant DA or a DA, but he signed it, she took it. As far as she knows, I mean, there's no reason for her to think it's anything but his signature.
But did she see him sign it?
You know, I haven't asked her if she saw him, but we did describe what happened that evening in question, that what she alleges was that she put it on the counter, that I think that he asked to sign, or that he did sign it. That's all.
I asked this because it seems like you're not 100% sure that it is his signature. And if you're not 100% sure that it is his signature, why would you show it at a press conference?
Well, why does anybody doubt that it is his signature?
Well, Roy Moore's campaign is saying, and Roy Moore himself is saying, it's not his signature.
Well, he has a motive to say that, and let him prove that it's not. We have offered to provide it to an independent expert at the hearing, which would be held in Washington, and we have allowed it to be examined. So
have you gotten any response from anybody in Congress?
I have no reason. They have not provided me any evidence to suggest that it is not his signature. All they've done is make this bold assertion that it's not, but they have not provided any evidence whatsoever to support their assertion. Of course, they have a motive to make that assertion because he is denying. First, he denied even knowing her. Then he compounded that or confused that whole issue by saying something to the effect that, oh, well, she appeared before him in a divorce case, and apparently that does not appear to be accurate either.
Wow. I'm telling people, if you want to witness a master class in deception, how to spot a liar, just watch that video with the sound on and then the sound off. Can you say, Katie Tour, by the way, all credit to Katie Tour. I don't do this very often, but I always believe that we should give, because that's integrity. I always believe that as hard as I am on the fake news, I don't have a problem with real journalism. I have a problem with fake news, and I tip my hat to Katie Tour there. That was a master class in exposing a liar. Gloria Allred would not defend her client. So I don't know what to say. I'll tell you this, 100% confession, my confession time, a story I got wrong. When people told me that that yearbook signature was fake, I'm going to tell you right away that I told people, guys, that sounds like a conspiracy theory. I don't believe it. Leave me alone. The idea, maybe I'm just naive. The idea that they would go to that length to forge a signature like this, right? So you can read my tweets where I told people that I believe the yearbook was authentic. I told people that I thought it was a conspiracy theory to doubt it. And now I'm the one who looks like the fool. But you got to own your mistakes in life, and I own that mistake. I accused a lot of people of spreading conspiracy theory about a forged signature. But Gloria Allred right there confirmed the conspiracy theory. She's the one who won't stand by her client. This is her client. She doesn't trust her own client. She doesn't believe it's true. She's hedging her bet. So Gloria Allred is now the person who has cast that entire signature into doubt. And that really goes to show the real problem of fake news. They had me conned. And I spot fake news for a living. I'm doing a documentary on fake news called Hoax. Even with my great ability to spot media hoaxes, even I, Mike Cernovich, fell victim to the con of the fake news media and that forgery. So that goes to show, I don't know how much can you trust on the news. Probably none of it. But you can trust INFOWARS.com. And we're back with the final segment, Mike Cernovich. You can find me at Facebook.com/Mike Cernovich. Here to talk about, and we'll call this segment, how Congress covers up sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, and sexual assault by its members. This is very, very disturbing stuff that I'm about to break a big story on, probably Monday. We'll see. It's a very big story. Everybody in Congress is going to feel it. It'll be on the level of the Susan Rice story. So stay tuned for that. But what I've been learning is that if we click onto Reed Wilson had a tweet where the Congressional Office of Compliance releases a year-by-year breakdown of harassment claims and settlements. So we're going to take a look at this chart. And for those of you just listening in, excuse me, for those of you listening in, we'll just read it to you, and those of you at home can watch. There is a star chamber designed to completely silence victims of sexual misconduct by congressmen. So it's called the Congressional Office of Compliance. Now, under federal law, any complaint a staffer makes against a congressman or congresswoman, it has to be kept confidential. It goes to this very quiet little star chamber where you don't have any due process of law. Government attorneys bully you, berate you. They do anything they can to keep quiet. And then if they settle the lawsuit with you, under federal law, it would be a violation of federal law for you to go public with this. So what are they hiding? Well, we're about to reveal a lot of this, because when I found this chart where they talked about the number of settlements every year, there was one year, I believe, there was something like $4 million in settlements. I can see if I can pull the chart up real quick, because the numbers are startling. In 2007, 25 sexual misconduct cases were settled, $4 million. In 2002, 10 were settled for $3.9 million. And then in other years, you have $400,000, $800,000, $806,000. Big numbers. Now, we, the taxpayers, are paying this. This should be a way bigger story. As bad as Al Franken's video was, maybe some people could say, well, it was a joke. Do I agree with that? Look, I've said a few things trolling that I shouldn't have said. I'm not going to cast a lot of stones. But this is not a joke. This is taxpayer money being paid out for the misconduct of members of Congress, many of whom are multimillionaires. They're using taxpayer money to seduce women, and then when the women complain or when they're not being seduced, when they're actually being harassed, our money is paying them to go away, and it's all silent. So we have to get this out there. So what I've done is, and it's my pen tweet right now, I'm offering a cash reward for a list of these settlements. So I have said that I will give $10,000. I would give $10,000 cash, Bitcoin, check, whatever people want to do. I want to know about these settlements. The fake news media, by the way, has always known about this Office of Compliance and these secret star chambers. But most of these people who are engaging in misconduct, as we now learning, are Democrats. So the media, rather than doing their job and finding out who is doing this, they're covering up for Democrats yet again. But they can't cover up for Democrats anymore because now they want to come after Roy Moore. Now suddenly they care. Oh, Roy Moore, they got to go after Roy Moore. Well, where were they when Anthony Weiner was sexting underage girls, which, by the way, was caught on camera? Anthony Weiner is going to prison because he was caught on camera seducing a 15-year-old. The media reported that he was, in a lot of trouble, but they didn't report that he was married to Uma. He had access to classified emails, classified information. This man, this sexual predator, was almost in the White House. He was a great friend of Chuck Schumer. You notice that the media never called Democrats and said, hey, Chuck Schumer, do you disavow Anthony Weiner? They said, oh, well, we'll report on the charges against him, but we're not going to hold Democrats accountable. You can't hold. Here's how the media plays it. Mike, you can't expect us to blame every Democrat for something another Democrat does, even when he was part of the Clintons' inner circle, even when Bill Clinton officiated Weiner's and Uma's wedding. Mike, you can't do that. That's an unfair standard to do. So we're not going to do it. But then suddenly, when Roy Moore is accused, in some cases, of merely going on a date for ice cream with an 18-year-old, that's an accusation. If you're a Republican, going on a date and eating an ice cream cone with an 18-year-old, that constitutes an accusation, right? But if you're 15 years old and you're, sexually assaulting young girls, 15-year-olds, and it's on camera, well, that isn't the fault of Democrats. Well, with Roy Moore, within 44 minutes, our media had called every Republican in the Senate and demanded a statement and asked them to disavow Roy Moore, who, by the way, is not in the Senate. Let's be quite clear about this. Roy Moore is not in the Senate. So isn't it interesting how when it's a Republican accused of something, even if it's just merely going and having an ice cream cone with an 18-year-old, the media's all over it. They're calling every Republican. You better do something about it. You better say something about it. But when it's a Democrat caught on camera doing something bad, the media goes, oh, come on, guys, you're being unreasonable. You can't expect every Democrat to take personal responsibility for what one bad apple did, right? It's always a bad apple. Oh, it's just a bad apple, even though over and over it's been shown that Democrats are actually the real rapists. Democrats are the real rapists. So, yeah, 25 senators disavowed Roy Moore within like a matter of minutes because every reporter was on the phone calling them. Well, how many senators have disavowed Al Franken? Where's that story? Right? That's what the media, and that's why they hate us and they want to get us all banned and everything, because if it weren't for us, they wouldn't have even reported on Al Franken. I called the media people out. It was noon Eastern Standard Time before Chris L. Hayes, Dave Weigel of the Washington Post, Matty Iglesias of Vox, you name a high-level Democrat, they waited hours. And I call them high-level Democrats because if you do work in the mainstream media for the Washington Post or CNN, that's what you are. You're a high-level Democrat. It took them hours. And then I'm on social media going through their timelines, screen capping and saying, look, we haven't heard anything from these high-level Democrat operatives in the media. And then suddenly they realized, oh, we're getting caught. Well, we got to ban Cernovich one of these days, but until we have him banned, because I'm like the Socrates of Twitter, right? I'm the gadfly. I'm the guy saying, well, wait a minute, Chris L. Hayes, you were just saying that every Republican has to disavow Roy Moore, but now you're not even talking about Al Franken, who was caught on camera What about that? So using the Socratic method, because I'm the Socrates of Twitter, they hate me and they do want to give me the hemlock and virtual hemlock. They want me removed from the internet virtually. And I do sincerely believe, based on reasonable information, that they do want me killed with literal hemlock if they had the power and could get away with it. But luckily, there are people watching out for us. And indeed, WAPO even ran a column by Kate Harding who says, I'm a feminist, but we should keep Al Franken in office. So this is an amazing column. I encourage everybody to read it, where she goes, I'm a feminist, I study rape culture, and I don't want Al Franken to resign. The mask has slipped off. She admits it doesn't matter what you do. You can be a rapist if you're a Democrat. If you're a Democrat and you're caught on camera molesting a woman, they'll even call it a virtual grope. This was a great line from NBC, because we praised Katie Tour on NBC for actually asking Gloria Allred real questions. Another commentator on NBC had said, well, Al Franken didn't grope her. It was a mock groping. Boy, they really want to look at camera angles when it's a Democrat, right? So even when you give them a picture, they're like, well, were his fingers technically touching her? Was it merely hovering? NBC pundit said not actually groping, is mock groping, right? Amazing. The level of mental gymnastics they'll go through to protect their own. So that's why I'm grateful that Kate Harding in the Washington Post said, oh, we know he groped her, but who cares? He's one of us, and we will protect our own. So keep that in mind when they call you, the great listeners, when they call you a conspiracy theorist. The conspiracy is now out in the open, where they admit that they conspire to cover up for their own side. Great hour. Thanks, everybody. You can again find me, facebook.com/Mike Cernovich, or